So you want to flip a home, or you've seen people do it, and you've heard the bajillion commercials I feel like that are everywhere now about here, learn to flip homes and don't put any money into it. And I guess that maybe can work. That's not been my experience in how I've learned to flip homes. And so this is episode 1 of a 2-part thing about flipping homes and just kind of the basic overview of what I think about and what I've learned and how I've flipped the dozen or more homes that I've flipped over the last 2 years. So there's a couple parts to flipping a home. Obviously, you got to figure out a plan. You got to find the home. You got to create a rehab plan, because usually a home that's being flipped is dilapidated, old, foreclosed on, been destroyed by the tenants, whatever it happens to be. So there's going to be a large component of a rehab usually involved with flipping a home. And usually the larger the rehab, the potential better deal you're going to get on the purchase of the home, so the more money you're potentially going to make. So that's kind of a call that you can make. Maybe starting out, my first rehab was like a $20,000 rehab, and I've now done, $70,000, $80,000 rehabs that are obviously totally comprehensive and pretty much just gutting the entire house and rebuilding it from the ground up. So you got to create the plan, you got to find the home, then you have to actually do the rehab to the home, and then selling it. So those are 3 pretty basic parts. So finding a home. How do you find a home to purchase and then flip? A lot of different ways to do it. There are people called wholesalers that basically they are the pre-home flippers. So their entire business model is all around helping investors find these homes. So they spend thousands and thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours on marketing and checking lists and foreclosures and tax liens and obituary records. Like literally, they're looking at all sorts of different things, and their whole job is to find and secure homes that then they sell at an upcharge to investors, and you happy and you pay that upcharge because you didn't have to spend the hours and the time. I've worked with wholesalers on a couple of properties. The biggest thing that you gotta watch for, and this is overarching with any deal and any property, anything you're gonna work on, but you've gotta check the numbers yourself. So wholesalers will bring you a packet for a property that has, this is how much you're going to pay for the property, this is how much the rehab's going to be, and this is how much they think you're going to sell it for. Check those numbers yourself. I've seen them being totally out of whack sometimes. Then people buy these homes with those numbers, and either the ARV, which is the after repair value, is way lower, or the rehab cost is way higher, and you get screwed. I mean, you're looking to have somewhere between usually a $10,000 and a $30,000 profit on a flip property, and it's amazing how quickly that evaporates if you mess up on the numbers. So always check the numbers. But you have wholesalers, obviously you have realtors who have on the market homes. I've purchased numerous ones of those, but those you got to think about, there's going to be a lot of eyes on those properties instantaneously as soon as it hits the market, because it's on the MLS system or whatever your local system is. And so it's going out to potentially thousands, tens of thousands of people. So you're going to have literally hundreds of investors looking at the same home. So if you want to purchase a home that's actually on the market, you got to go and literally be there in an hour. I've looked at homes that have come on the market at like 7 in the morning. I'm there at 8 and we have it under contract at 8:30. Like literally that's how it goes. And you have to be incredibly aggressive. And sometimes if you do that and the person just wants to sell it, you can get a great deal. I've purchased and made plenty of money on homes that were on the market. But you got to be careful that, when there's lots of investors, you get in a bidding war, you get emotional, you're like, no, it must be my home. Then you'll get screwed. Don't do that. Don't get screwed. Getting screwed is not fun. So those are the 2 main ways. Obviously, if you want to do the looking and the off-the-market research that the wholesalers do, that's another option. And you might, get a little bit of a better deal on a home, but you just have to figure out, is it worth you or you hiring someone to spend tons of time doing that research yourself and not just working with a wholesaler. So those are a couple things about finding the property. So you find the property, and while it's under contract, that's the time, if you have an option period, which is a little time where you can back out of a contract for a low amount of money, that's the time you want to do all your due diligence, is the real estate term that you will need to know. And that's when you're looking at everything. You want to look at how much is the rehab actually going to cost you? How much is this home actually worth? What are the comps in the area? Is stuff actually selling? How quickly is it selling for? Like you got to dig deep and figure it out, because out of your option period, you bought the home, it's yours. Make the best out of it. and that's when you will set yourself up for a rough situation. So do your due diligence, figure out that, talk to your contractor, make a plan. If you're not going to do that, I would say you should be highly involved, especially when you're just starting your business in the rehab process. I've had friends, you just try to hire a GC who says, yeah, I'll do the entire home for whatever, 30, 40 grand, and you pay them 10 grand up front, and then they go to Mexico. Like, literally that happens. I know people that's happened to. And the best way to get the deal is to cut that person out or have someone in a very much of a kind of behind the scenes role, an advisory role to you as you are managing your rehab. And I think it's a great learning experience, especially when you're starting out, because unless you have a big background in construction, which I didn't have, you need to take the time and to learn about that. So make your plan and rerun all your numbers, and you got to calculate things like construction insurance that you need to have. You got to calculate what the realtor fees are when you purchase and then when you sell the home. That can be thousands and tens of thousands of dollars potentially, depending on the level of home. Taxes while you're holding the property. You got to calculate for overages in the rehab. So the number that you buy the home for, the number you put into the home for the rehab, and then what you sell the home, there's probably at least another $15,000 of expenses that you're going to have to add on to that rehab cost. Potentially, more than that, but I would say at least 15 grand of extra expenses that you're going to be paying. So make sure you figure that in when you're saying, okay, I'm going to make $50,000 on this deal. Well, are you really? Have you calculated in all the auxiliary costs of flipping a home? So now we're up to the rehab, and that's the next step, and we're going to talk about that in the next episode.